Breaking news: a sudden ceasefire between the US and Iran has shocked the world.
Breaking news: a last-minute deal tonight between the U.S. and Iran to stop the fighting, at least temporarily. After 38 days of joint U.S.-Israeli military operations against Iran, known as Operation Epic Fury, that agreement announced this evening by President Trump.
Did Trump step back voluntarily, or was he forced into this deal? Tensions are still high, and not everyone agrees with this pause. Will Israel allow the ceasefire to survive? Or is this peace just temporary? Let's know. Let's start from the beginning. On April 8, 2026, after days of rising tensions, military alerts, and global fear of a full-scale war, the United States and Iran suddenly agreed to a temporary ceasefire. This announcement shocked the world because just hours earlier, both sides were showing signs of escalation, not peace. Military movements, strong statements, and rising threats had created an atmosphere where many believed a major conflict was about to begin. Yet, in a surprising turn, everything paused. Behind the scenes, several countries reportedly played a role in pushing both sides toward this decision, trying to prevent a wider regional war that could have affected not just the Middle East, but the entire world. Now, negotiations are expected to begin soon, but it is important to understand that this is not a permanent peace agreement. It is only a temporary halt, a short window where both sides are stepping back, possibly to reassess their next moves. Now here's where things get interesting and confusing at the same time. Donald Trump had been taking a very aggressive position against Iran. His statements were strong, direct, and often hinted at powerful military action. He warned of consequences and made it clear that the United States was ready to respond if necessary. Because of this, many people expected escalation, not de-escalation. So when the ceasefire was suddenly announced, it raised serious questions across the world. Why step back now? What changed so quickly? Was there something happening behind closed doors that the public doesn't know? Many analysts believe that this move may not have been entirely voluntary. Instead, it could have been influenced by pressure from global powers who wanted to avoid a larger conflict. There was also the risk of economic damage, especially with oil markets and global trade routes at stake. A prolonged conflict could have disrupted economies worldwide, increased fuel prices, and created instability far beyond the region. So in that sense, stepping back may have been seen as a necessary move to prevent a bigger crisis. This brings us to the biggest debate surrounding this situation. Critics are openly calling this move an epic surrender. According to them, Iran did not clearly back down, no major public concessions were made, and the United States agreed to pause instead of continuing pressure. From their perspective, this looks like a retreat rather than a victory. On the other hand, Trump's supporters strongly disagree. They argue that this is not a surrender at all, but a calculated and strategic decision. According to them, avoiding unnecessary destruction while opening the door for negotiations is a sign of smart leadership, not weakness. They believe that sometimes stepping back is the best way to move forward, especially when the stakes are extremely high. This difference in opinion has divided analysts, media, and the public. Some see weakness, others see strategy. And right now there is no clear answer, only interpretations. If you're enjoying this deep and detailed breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share your opinion in the comments, because your perspective is an important part of this global discussion. Now we come to the most critical and sensitive part of this entire situation, and that is Israel. Israel has always maintained a very firm and uncompromising stance when it comes to Iran, especially regarding security concerns. For years, tensions between Israel and Iran have remained high, and any development involving Iran automatically affects Israel's strategy. The problem here is that even after the ceasefire announcement between the US and Iran, Israel has not fully committed to stopping its own operations. This creates a highly unstable situation. If Israel continues its actions, Iran could see this as a violation or provocation, even if the United States is not directly involved. This could quickly trigger retaliation, and once that happens, the ceasefire could collapse within moments. In simple terms, even if the US and Iran try to maintain peace, the situation can still spiral out of control depending on what Israel decides to do next. This is why many experts believe that the success or failure of this ceasefire does not depend only on two countries, but on multiple players in the region. Beyond politics and military strategy, this ceasefire has a massive global impact. The moment the news broke, financial markets reacted almost instantly. Oil prices showed movement, stock markets responded, and there was a slight sense of relief across global economies. The reason behind this reaction is simple. The region involved in this conflict controls some of the most important energy routes in the world, including critical oil supply paths. Any disruption in this area can directly affect fuel prices, transportation costs, and overall economic stability worldwide. That is why even a temporary ceasefire can bring short-term relief. However, experts warn that this relief is fragile. If tensions rise again, markets could react just as quickly in the opposite direction. So while the world is breathing a little easier right now, the uncertainty is still very real. It is also important to understand that this ceasefire is not a long-term solution. It is temporary by nature and filled with risks. History has shown that ceasefires without strong trust and clear agreements often fail. All it takes is one mistake, one miscalculation, or one unexpected incident to break the fragile balance. A single strike, a misunderstanding, or even a miscommunication could restart the conflict instantly. This is why many analysts are cautious. They are not celebrating peace yet because they know how quickly the situation can change. The lack of trust between the involved sides makes this ceasefire even more delicate. Looking ahead, the coming days will be extremely important. Negotiations are expected to take place, and both sides will closely observe each other's actions. Every move, every statement, and every decision will be analyzed not just by the countries involved, but by the entire world. Global powers will also keep a close watch, as the outcome of these talks could shape future international relations. But despite all this, one major question still remains unanswered. Will this ceasefire lead to a stable and lasting peace, or is it simply a short pause before a much larger and more dangerous conflict? At this moment, no one can say for sure. The situation remains uncertain, unpredictable, and highly sensitive.